Okay, are you failing algebra? Well, if you are, I'm glad that you found this video because I need you to do this now. And I just want you to know that you can always turn around your situation in mathematics, but you got to be doing the right things. And that this particular video, we're going to be talking about what's the first thing you need to do if you find yourself failing algebra. So we're going to get to this in just 1 second. But first, let me go ahead and quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of TabletClass Math. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher, and over several years, I've constructed what I like to believe is one of the best online math help programs there is. Of course, I'll let you be the judge of that. If you're interested, you can find a link to a math help program by following the link in the description of this video. But I offer full courses, and if you are taking a course right now, for example, algebra, you can either take my algebra course as a supplement or just use my program to help you out. I literally have full comprehensive lessons and teach you how to do thousands of problems, the most common problems you're going to face in middle and high school mathematics. Now, I'm going to be talking about some other things, kind of a lot of different things, but the most important thing that you need to start doing, okay, immediately if you're failing algebra. But just as a big overview, because I like to do this in all my videos, I'm assuming you are a student and you need to take a look at your notes. Okay, if your notes are not 100%, well, this is the one thing that you immediately need to start correcting if you are failing algebra. I actually offer very comprehensive, detailed notes. You can find a link to those in the description of this video. Those would include pre-algebra, of course, algebra I offer, geometry, algebra 2, and trigonometry. So if you're failing algebra, you might be interested in my algebra notes. But again, you can find links to all these notes in the description of this video. All right, so let's talk about failing algebra. Now, as a math teacher for decades here, there's nothing worse than having to fail a student in a course. All right. Believe me, I mean, being a student and failing, it doesn't feel good as well. But the teacher is not, 99%. I'm speaking of 99% because I'm sure there might be the 1% of teachers who just enjoy failing, math students. I don't think that's your case because that's a rare type of thing. But is it possible? Certainly it is, okay? But the vast majority of teachers are really trying to help you pass this class because it reflects poorly on them, if you fail. So you got to know that as a teacher is highly motivated to get you to pass the course as well, okay? So if you think that, oh, the teacher has it out for you, that type of thing. Well, that's likely not the case. It could be in your mind. You might be seeing that because you don't know who else to kind of blame. But anyways, just trust me, okay? You're not the only one that wants you to pass, your algebra course. So if you're failing algebra, you got to do this right now. Okay, let's get into this, and then we're going to talk about some other things that you got to start doing as well. But the first thing that you have to stop doing, and it's just human nature, is really negative thinking. Okay, negative thinking. All right. And that's what's probably going on with most of you. If you're failing algebra, you're likely not, have this big smiley face in your thoughts. Here, I could draw a better smiley face than that. And you just have happy thoughts going on. That's probably not the situation if you're failing algebra. What's the situation is you probably got these kind of thoughts going on like this. Okay. You're like, tears coming out. You're just frustrated, you know and you're worried, okay, rightfully so, right? So the thing about it is this: I'm not telling you to switch into happy thoughts, okay, per se, but when you get stuck in a negative thinking loop, you can't. You're so focused on thinking about the problem, okay, and not thinking about the solution. Okay, so the solution over here, right? This is really going to be the positive thinking. This is empowering thinking. Now, um, when you're thinking about the problem, okay, you do need to be honest about the situation. I'm not saying you can't, look at what's going on, but what happens with most students is they get consumed and they just grow this mental image of, their life. I'm going to get an F. my GPA is going to just go down the drain. I'm not going to get into the college that I wanted to get into. I won't get, my parents are going to get mad at me, or whatever the case is. I won't be able to get my certificate. I'm going to waste money on this class and I got to retake it. Let's say you're a college student. I'm going to lose my summer because I have to take this class again in summer school. What are people going to think of me? They're going to think I'm dumb. Dot, 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 right? This is negative thinking. This is what I'm talking about. So when you're worried, okay, all these things start to really consume our brain and are really kind of like a gigantic weight, okay, just putting a lot of force on your situation, okay, because this is like, but you're just thinking about the consequences of failing. So what you have to immediately do, okay, is you have to do this right now. You have to start itemizing all the things that you can do. Okay, so what's the first thing here? I'm saying do this now. Well, the first thing is you have to stop negative thinking, and the only way you're going to stop negative thinking is to replace it, okay, with positive thinking. You can't just stop like not, having thoughts, right? That's not going to work. Okay, you're be like, okay, I'm just going to have a blank face and I'll just be like this, Mr. like no thoughts at all. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, it's good for you to spend a little bit of time thinking about the problem, okay? Because you're at risk. All right, there are serious things that come with serious consequences that come with failing a course. So you should be highly motivated to take action. And this is really the key, okay? Positive thinking is another word for taking action, okay? Taking action, not just thinking about the consequences of the problem, okay? And then this is what most students do. They're worried, and even if they think they're not, doing this, they are doing this. Your subconscious mind is running all kinds of programs in there, and it's like, and it happens. It's not just you; it's everybody. It's me. We all do it in life. If we're worried about something, we look at the future, and but there's a quote, there's a saying that goes something like, so many things. I'm messing up the quote, but it basically says that all these bad things happened in my life, and only like really 1% of them came true. Because in our brain, we're thinking about the worst case scenario, and we're really living it out in our imagination. Okay, and it just causes our terrible feeling and stress. Okay, so what you're thinking about, what you're visualizing, okay, is really happening. Okay, and it's almost impossible to take action when you're under that kind of mental duress. So once you recognize there is a problem, and another thing too here is if you're failing algebra, as soon as if you're watching this video and you're not sure if you're failing algebra, if you got like a D, certainly an F on a test, okay, and if your grade is going from a 90 down to a 75, if you had a big mark down in your grade or your performance, then you're starting to be at risk at failing a course. Now, one thing that let's just talk a little bit more about like negative thinking here. I think you got the right idea of what it is, but a lot of students, they get kind of in denial. They don't want to think about action. They just hope. Okay, and this is hope is great. We need to all have hope, but hope is not a strategy to do better in algebra. So if you're in chapter 7 and you fail and you just hope that in chapter 8 things are going to go better, guess what ends up happening 90% of the time? Typically, you're going to do poorly here. Maybe you get a D or an F again, maybe a C minus, and then the things just kind of escalate from there. And so instead of being one test down, you're 2, 3 tests down. So now you're kind of digging a bigger hole. So you can't hope that things are going to get better. That's not positive thinking. You're like, oh, I'm not gonna be a negative thinker here. I just know in my gut, I just know things are going to work out and be fantastic. Well, if you're not changing what you're doing, then that's not going to be the case, right? You're going to come to realize that you're going to get more of the same. So something's wrong. If you're failing algebra, something is wrong. But whatever is wrong, you can fix it. But you got to fix it by taking concrete action. So I've done quite a bit of videos on how to fix your math grades. But let's just quickly review some of the things here. So obviously, we got to stop that negative thinking, and the only way we're going to be able to do that is to get motivated into some positive thinking. Okay, and that means what? Well, that's again positive thinking. All right, is thinking about what actions can you take to improve that you'll get almost a guaranteed return on your investment. Okay, so in other words, if you do these actions, all right, you're almost guaranteed to get a positive effect from it. All right, so let's just quickly go through some of those positive actions. The first thing is you need to be speaking to your teacher. All right, you know that person that's trying to teach you algebra, and maybe you're blaming your situation on them. You got to get in communication with them and say, hey, Mr. Teacher, my situation is an F. I really want to be an A. What can I do? Okay. You got to get feedback from your teacher because your teacher is the one that's going to be grading you. And just by asking them, all right, showing that you care about your grade goes a huge way. I can tell you right now, over decades of teaching math, there's a lot of students that I try to say, hey, Billy, young Sarah, hey, you're failing. We got to do something about this. That's an emergency. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. And then nothing really happens on their part. Okay, so the teacher can't be the only one that has a sense of urgency. If you come to your teacher and you're like, listen, I'm concerned. I don't want this situation. Just that you show concern really gives you extra points for your teacher. Your teacher's going to be inclined to get creative. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you a little inside baseball about teachers. Teachers can, have a lot of power, okay, in terms of their classroom. They can do some things that are a little extracurricular, creative to help your grade out. They can give you a little extra work, okay. They'll be like, okay, listen, if you do this, then I'll help. You demonstrate through hard extra work that you really do know these concepts. Then I'm going to see what I can do about repairing your grade. And but that's a case by case basis. Okay, a teacher can do that. All right, most teachers can do it. They're not going to be locked into like, oh, I can't do anything for you. But they're not going to do anything for the student that doesn't care. The only way you're going to show your teacher that you care is by saying, what should I be doing? Okay, like, hey, here's a situation, help me out, da 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 da. Okay, so now the one thing that you have to be doing in order to be doing well in math is you got to be taking great notes. Okay, so be honest with yourself. Look at your notes. Right, if they're anything less than perfect, you got to double down and increase your note taking ability. The better detailed notes you have, and sometimes you have to construct your own notes. Okay, in other words, your teacher's writing stuff down on a chalkboard, whiteboard, whatever the case is. You might have to go into your book and enhance your notes. All right, notes equals this is work. Okay, is I know it's work. I have to take notes as well, right? As a teacher, you have to take notes in order to have a lesson plan, etc. So the work that you're doing is going to increase your retention and understanding. Okay, so you got to put the work in, all right, for sure. And a good reflection of where you're working at is in your notes. Okay, so now what are some other things that you need to be doing? Well, the one thing is this: you can't hope anymore. Okay, now, in other words, you always should have hope. That's just a good thing, just for living life. But what I'm saying is, you can't hope that a problem went away. All right, so you had some problem. Let's say in good old chapter 7, you got an F on that test. All right, listen, that's not the end of the world. However, you can't hope that chapter 7, that topic, is just going to go away and you'll never see it again. That's not the way it works in algebra. Math builds upon itself. You will see this topic. This topic will have influence on future topics that you're going to be learning. So you have to face these problems head on. So if you didn't learn something, okay, by virtue of you getting a poor grade, or maybe learn a few chapters, or maybe you really you lost a semester of algebra, you're going to have to go back. You're going to have to go back, and you're going to have to kind of relearn relearn this material, okay? Now, if you're learning new material and and you have to go back and relearn, yes, you're going to have to be spending like 3x amount of time that you normally would in a class, but you just can't, you're not going to be able to correct your algebra situation by just moving on, hoping for a fresh start for future chapters. That's not going to work. Okay, so you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to relearn that material, and your teacher is not going to be in a position to basically say, okay, listen, oh, you need to relearn that. I will personally reteach you everything. Not going to happen. So if you don't have notes on that material, okay, which you likely maybe don't have that good of notes, how are you going to relearn this stuff? Well, this is where you're going to have to look at some options here. You can get a tutor, all right? And tutors are pretty pricey. Okay, I spent years as a high paid tutor, quote unquote. But literally, if your tutor is like a professional math teacher, those are going to be highly in demand. Okay, like high school math teachers and whatnot. Where I used to teach in a very kind of upscale school district, I mean, tutors can get anywhere from $80 to $100 plus per hour, math tutors. Okay, but you're talking about people with degrees in mathematics who teach this material, and it is, you want to say it's an unfair advantage for some people. You can be determine that. But even if you went to, like, say, Sylvan Learning Center or places, any kind of learning center like that, those learning centers are expensive as well. I mean, for a year, you might end up spending like $3,000 to $4,000, and that may not be appropriate for someone in algebra. So what are you going to do? Well, there's always other programs out there, especially online. Okay, it's things like my math program, full complete algebra course. I mean, for the cost that you're going to pay to get into my program, it's minuscule compared to all of this stuff. Okay, but you have to go out and research and get creative. But the bottom line is you got to find something where there's a lot of instruction that you like and understand. Okay, but you're going to have to take the initiative to go back and relearn this stuff. So maybe that's, on the weekend you're kind of working through that, but hopefully you're also having some sort of strategy with your teacher, saying, listen, if I go back and I show you that, I actually understand chapter 7 much better, what can you do for my grade? Oftentimes your teacher will get creative and kind of credit you back some partial credit, so you're not at an F. Believe me, they don't want you to fail. Okay, so at a minimum, okay, no matter where you're at in your algebra situation, there are extreme. I mean, if you only have 1 or 2 days left, you know, and you have a complete F, well, that's going to be kind of rough um, to pass. But most courses out there, you have chapter test. Okay, all right. In other words, this is how most teachers would kind of grade a class. Generally speaking, there's going to be chapter test, homework, and notes are going to count as part of your grade. It just goes without saying you got to be doing the homework and taking good notes. And then you have a final exam. Okay, sometimes a midterm as well. And oftentimes the final exam could count for a significant portion of your grade, maybe like 20%. Okay, so by relearning, all right, and if you like do awesome on the final exam, that could do tremendous things for your grade in terms of passing. So, again, yes, there is hope, okay, but there's only hope for those students out there who just jump in to start taking action. All right, you got to take action. You can't just be, woe is me, I'm going to fail. I'm going to be taking summer school. Uh, you know, uh, I hate the situation. Da, 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 da. You have to stop yourself. And I think what helps me to kind of take positive action or focus me on that is I like to think on paper. Make yourself a little stick figure like this. Get a piece of paper and pencil and just start listing down these things, okay, and other things that you can think of, and then go to your teacher, all right, and say, hey, here's my plan. I'm going to do this, this, and this. Can you suggest anything else? Listen to your teacher, listen to some other things that I'm talking about, throw it into a pot, and then just start working your plan of action. You will get results. This is going to be a guaranteed return on your investment, but it takes work, it takes effort. Listen, nothing good comes easy, but you don't have to be in a situation where you fail algebra, right? That's not a fun thing. This is normally a 1-year course. You don't want to fail algebra. You should be highly motivated to, you know, um, skirt away from the negative consequences of doing that, right? But a lot of students, they just, they'll just say, "Oh, I'll accept it, and maybe next year I'll do better." Don't let that be you. Okay, so hopefully, you were kind of drifting around, searching for some videos that can help you, and maybe this video was the one thing that you needed to hear to, like, light a fire inside you to be like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely not going to fail. I'm going to correct this. I'm going to do 180, and I'm going to figure this out. And if that is the case, then hopefully you could help me out by smashing that like button. And if you're new to my YouTube channel, hopefully you'll consider subscribing. I've been on YouTube for 10 plus years and literally have hundreds and hundreds of videos. Certainly for algebra, I got a ton of videos on algebra, pre-algebra, all kinds of algebra topics in my algebra playlist on my channel. But if you want my best math help, you want to follow the links in the description of this video. Okay, but with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.